Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. So I am back on the road again for my employment, and I wanted to make some notes about truckers regarding what I've been witnessing and a few observations here. I'd been planning on this video for some time. Then I saw an episode of George Galloway's show this morning that just added more food for thought. So, I mean, right now is absolutely the best time for this. So, lately, I have been seeing during summer months a decline in the number of trucks on the road. I mean, this is a decline that I have noted during my travels, a decline of at least 30 to 50% of trucks that I am seeing on the road on a continuous, consistent basis. So a lot of people are going to want to blame this on the health events, and so forth of the past year, but this is not true. I've noted a number of times that we saw a decline in the number of truckers, at least back in 2019, which is when it first came to my attention, when over 200 trucking companies in the United States alone went out of business. So right now, in addition to other things, we've got the supply chain constraints that are going on. China is back on lockdown with tens of millions of Chinese that are not even allowed to leave their homes, except for one person per household that is allowed to leave the house once a day to go shopping for necessities, groceries, and so forth. So they're not allowed, their public transportation has just stopped. So, they're not going to work. Not many of them going to work there. If they are, constrained to remaining in their homes, well, they're not supplying stuff that's going to be shipped here. And as far as the American, manufacturing and supply chain, well, that's just not happening. There's been all this talk about, an increase in demand, and numbers are not adding up for this. Right? If numbers coming from shipping and trucking companies are stating that there has only been a 2.7 to 4% increase in demand from this time in 2019. Not 2020, 2019. So statistically, that's flatline. That's just flatline. There is no pent-up demand that, you're talking about with the economy recovering and pent-up demand and all this stuff, that you're not talking about reality. It's not there. It's just not the truth. Anyway, what are some of the reasons for the shortage of truckers? How bad is this shortage? Well, to give you one indication, right now, airports are reporting severe shortages of jet fuel, which is so bad that if you fly from one side of the country to the other, your flight may have to make several stops along the way. You're not going, all the way across without stopping. They may have to stop several times along the way to refuel. They're not topping off the tanks in these jets because there's not enough fuel to supply them in one location. If they top off one jet, then that may stop another jet from even being able to take off. So that's bad enough. You know, we've got bottlenecks at the ports. We've got the drought in the West, etc. That means there's less to ship. And, you know, as far as the supply chain is concerned, even the store shelves in China are being wiped out, cleared out, because people are panic buying. If the Chinese are buying up all of the goods within the country, they're sure not exporting things. And we're not producing enough to even warrant loading it on a truck, because you can't load up a truck. Even if you load up the truck, what does the economy really look like? Are people buying things? And any increase in spending is being represented in dollar amounts, not in volume. And that's because prices are going up. So actual spending, you know, actual purchases are either flatlined or even declined from, you know, last year, because prices are so much higher. Anyway, some things that affect the number of truckers on the road are many. There are many. For one thing, truckers don't have any privacy. Do you know that some trucking lines actually put cameras in the cabins of trucks, that they're looking at the drivers while they're driving? You scratch your crotch or pick your nose, and they're watching you. So, but that's not enough there. Your health records are not private. Your health records are shared with your employer and the state licensing agency that issues your commercial license. So there's no such thing as HIPAA here. Now, I'm not saying that this is right or wrong. I understand the rationale to keep trucking as safe as possible. But you look at this, and this affects your ability. If you're a driver, it affects your ability to make a living and provide for your family. If you're an independent truck driver and you have a loan on your vehicle, the value of that vehicle might be higher than your mortgage on your house. So if you have something that impacts your ability to drive, which can suspend your license or terminate your license, and you've still got that debt, what are you going to do? It's been known that the number of trucks being produced for sale has been declining for years. But health issues. If you've got high blood pressure or diabetes, if you've got insomnia or sleep apnea, these things get reported to your employer and the state licensing agency. And these things can suspend or terminate your license if they are not controlled. Imagine developing high blood pressure or diabetes and having your license taken away. If you develop depression or anxiety, again, this is that require medication or treatment. Again, this is going to impact your employability. Now, this is especially true for long-haul truckers. If you have a DUI or an accident where you are deemed at fault in your personal vehicle, that can take away your license permanently. You're never going to work as a trucker again. Not long haul. So these things all lead to, these are just some things that lead to trucking being a highly unstable work. It's very unstable employment. It's also unsafe. Truckers get injured a lot. You know, you're just hooking up a rig and loading, unloading. They suffer injuries, and if you get injured, well, you're not working for a while. If you suffer a major injury, you're not working for a while. Trucking in itself carries health risks such as blood clots, which can be an emergency. Imagine sitting in that truck for hours and hours. It's not uncommon for people to have blood clots just driving, on a vacation for long periods of time. Now imagine being the truck driver for years. People might romanticize this, truck driving, and think you've got privacy, thinking that it's high-paying, and stable employment, and none of this is true. Truckers' employment is very unstable. They're impacted by weather events, road conditions, etc. Imagine driving a truck in wintertime and you get stuck in a snowstorm. You're driving even in summertime and there's, an accident that blocks the road for hours. Well, that impacts how long it takes you to deliver your load, for which, if it takes too long, you can be penalized even if it's not your fault. And there's the penalty anyway, that if they make their money off of completing one delivery and picking up another and getting to the next one. The more deliveries that you can line up, then the more money you make. If conditions lead to you having fewer deliveries, you've got less income. Now, part of what George Galloway's show was talking about was truckers in the UK, but I wanted to compare. He said that American truckers have unions that lead to better working conditions and so forth, and I got to argue against that. You consider, he was talking about like truckers here getting to stay in hotels and things like this. From what I've seen, now maybe I've got it wrong. If you're a trucker, have been a trucker, or know more about it, please chime in below in the comments. But I pass by rest stops and truck stops all the time, and at night you see lines of trucks parked where these truckers are just sleeping in the sleeping cabins behind their seats. They're not staying in hotels. That's a luxury. And it's a luxury that a lot of trucking companies do not pay for. Now there are, you go to a rest stop. Here in the Southeast, a lot of the rest stops even close their bathrooms at 11 o'clock. All right, so they're not even able to go in and use the toilet. Of course, you got places like, along the south, you got like Love's and Travel Center, where trucks can park and get some food, and they've got showers that you can pay for to use. Yeah, I've seen ads for things like premium showers. I have no idea what a premium shower may be, but do the rest of them only have cold water and the premium showers have hot water? Gee, yeah, that's a premium, right? So, but the food that's available there isn't much to be desired. I remember years ago when truck stops used to be some of the absolute best places you could stop while you were on the highway, because they would have good food. You could sit down, have an actual meal on an actual plate, and you had table service and so forth. Now, you drive across country, what have you got? Nothing but fast food places. This frustrates me, even with my travels. Once in a while, I want to be able to sit down and have an actual meal. But all I got is fast food along the way. So they're eating this high sodium, sugar packed, unhealthy food. They don't even have a chance to relax, to interact with a waitress, nothing like that. To interact with one another. So this increases the risk of detrimental health effects on them. You're increasing the risk that they're going to have high blood pressure or diabetes or blood clots or, morbid obesity, all these things. And then you turn around and the companies and the licensing agencies want to make sure that your health condition is controlled. And if it's not well enough controlled, then you get your license suspended or terminated. So imagine all of that, and long-haul truckers spend days, weeks, even months away from home, away from their families. Even if they earn a good living, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? These are things that we have to think about when we hear about some problem with the number of trucks. What Biden did earlier this year when there was a problem with the number of truckers on the road was to lift the suspensions, which are put in place for safety, so that truckers could drive longer hours, which increases the risk. And trust me, a lot of companies were requiring their drivers to drive longer hours. And they probably still are. You lift those restrictions, and those companies are going to take advantage of it. And that places everyone on the road at risk, but especially the truck drivers. So why is there a shortage of truckers? Think about it. Would you want to work in these conditions? Not for days, not for weeks, not for months, for years, would you want this to be a career choice? You're sitting here watching my YouTube channel. So, are you going to do that while you're driving? Your chances for human interaction are very slim as a driver. So that increases stress in itself. Humans are social animals. You take away all of that, you might have some co-driver that you can interact with, but you're taking your chances, especially if that driver is assigned to you. You're taking the chance that you even get along with this person. If it's somebody you don't get along with, then your stress is increased, not decreased. All right. I want people to think about these things. Think about it. Share this video. Talk about these subjects. If you can, please donate $1 a month to help expand the channel, and I will catch you in the next one.